On the advice of counsel, respectfully decline to answer upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
111 times. That was the exact comment former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci, gave yesterday. Dr. Fauci invoked his Fifth Amendment right to silence during a hearing surrounding his response to the COVID pandemic.
All right, joining us now, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, we know what comes next is there could be a vote for him to be held in contempt, and then the process of that. Khalif, let's start there. What does a process moving forward look like?
It's a pretty straightforward process. It would be in committee. That committee is GOP-led committee, and so it's likely that it would potentially make it out of committee, and then it would go to a full vote, where I think it's less likely to be successful for a number of reasons. I mean, he's obviously invoking something that he has a legal right to do. Senator Paul says a number of times that I think the mechanism for us to bring some type of contempt hearing against or proceedings against Dr. Fauci is that there's no longer a use for his Fifth Amendment right, or I should say a valid use. But I have the clemency pardon from President Biden. I'm reading it, and I do take pause, I should say, for one moment. Listen, it says, for any offenses against the United States which he may have committed or taken part during the period of January 1st of 2014. So the first issue I take with Senator Paul's statement is that a presidential pardon, as we know, only deals with federal charges. And so if you're asking me questions up here in front of this congressional hearing, yeah, I may be okay on the federal side, but there may be potential state issues that I could have brought against me. And so if I make a statement here in this hearing and then the states decide to bring charges against me, what I've said in this hearing could be used. So I have a right, a constitutional right, to ensure that I don't say anything that may hurt me later. I think just because he still has the potential of state charges, that the Fifth Amendment would be a valid use in that hearing. So I think outside of the political theatrics, it should be dead on arrival in committee. I just don't think we're there right now where those types of things happen as the way they legally should. So I think it comes out of committee just because there's the votes to get it done.
After the 5th, 6th, 12th, 70th time that Dr. Fauci said to plead the Fifth, it is clear, Khalif, his answer, no matter what you ask him, they even said, what color's the carpet? What color's your tie? And he pled the Fifth. If you know that's going to be the answer from here till eternity, why do you keep a hearing going? You're wasting people's tax time, money, time. You know that's going to be the answer. Why can't you just go, okay, it's clear you're going to just do that. Let's just wrap it up and move on to the next step.
Two parts. We're obviously, these are elected officials in the political era where you want to get your sound bite. And so while you may already know what the answer is, and those are the best type of questions to ask in the court. If I already know the answer, I don't have to worry about any curveballs, right? So I know that what you're about to say. So I can phrase my question in any manner to get the theatrical response, like you mentioned about the carpet. But I think so that's the part of it. And then the other portion is you want to create a record. If you have any intention of doing a contempt hearing down the road, you have to be able to show that the person was actually in contempt. And so if you don't ask those questions, even if you know what the answer is, then when you go to the contempt proceedings, it will say, well, what was the contempt? He appeared, he showed up. You didn't ask any questions. There's no contempt. You got to be able to ask it. Yeah, do you need to ask it 100 times? Probably not, and that's why I would defer to my first statement. More theatrics, more political theater than anything, and that's all helpful during this era if you want to now push forward with the contempt process later.
All right, so let's go down that and break out the crystal ball. If they go down the contempt lane and it makes it out of committee, say we get to the point, the criminal charge would obviously be being contempt of Congress, right? But the pardon wouldn't excuse him from that because that would be a new charge, right?
I agree, and it would be contempt of Congress, and it would be obstruction. So, yeah, I don't believe that it would keep him safe there. I mean, if you look at the pardon, it talks about previous things from January 1st of 2014. I mean, you could look at the reading and say in connection to and in arising from your service, and so if you would make the logical step that the only reason you're here is because connection to and arising from your position as the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, that if that's the only reason you're here, I would say it would probably fall under there. But that's a large jump to get to that step. And again, it's an even larger jump that this makes it from committee and makes it out of the full hearing. So I doubt that it happens. The biggest portion for me yesterday was this was already released before, but Senator Paul releasing and then quoting his private diary entries. That's the more deeper legal question because, yeah, these diary entries were found on a government computer, but if they were purely private entries, do you have access to and a right to use and distribute his diary entries? That's the deeper question.
What do you think? Yes or no?
The courts are very tied. It's not clear, I should say, on that. It depends on if the purpose of his diary writings. Finding them clearly on the government computer, it's not enough.
All right, we'll have to keep following and looking at that. That sounds like, there might be some more meat there. Khalif, thanks. Final topic with him coming up at the top of the next hour.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.